Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, DC Comics podcast from Mailfuzz TV. I am Peter, and I am joined, as per usual, with Matt.
Yeah, what's up?
Now, not here this week, unfortunately, is the certain Ginger Menace. Basically, he was watching the Patreon this week and noticed that someone picked the Connor's Corner. I informed him that he was going to be reading an issue of Red Hood soon. It's coming soon, once we hit June. And he's done a runner. He's basically fled. He's fled the country. That's not entirely true. He had to work extra hours and couldn't make it, which is unfortunate. But me and Matt are here to guide.
Yep. At least he let us know well enough in advance, so it wasn't a surprise.
Oh yeah, he did.
Because sometimes he's just like, yep, sleep, need. So, you know.
Yeah. Now don't worry. Should all 4 slots of Corner's Corner fill up on the Patreon, if he has to miss a week, he will do 2 another week to make up for. Like the 4 who paid for it will get their book read by him. And don't worry about that. Just in case that's a concern, but no. So we talk about DC Comics, and on this week's show we are going to be talking about Deathstroke number 19, which is of course the third part of the Lazarus Contract crossover. We're going to talk about Detective Comics 957, Action Comics 980, Wonder Woman 23. Only 2 left, Matt, plus an annual.
Don't remind me. Although the annual, I read what it's about. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
So.
No, I like the idea of it as well. Batgirl number 11, Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps number 21, Batman Beyond number 8, and then finally Batman the Shadow number 2. So that's what's coming up on the week's show. Plus we get a little bit of news because the solicits came out this week. But it'll be nice, Matt. How was your week? Did you do anything fun? How exciting?
Yeah, went to a water park for locals night and only had 2 hours by the time we got in. So that was great. Because locals night means everybody, and yeah, it was shoddily ran. Not too happy, but the lazy river was nice, except for all the damn kids.
Oh yeah, kids are the worst.
Yeah, I'm getting to that age where I'm just like, I'm around kids at work, so I work at a school. I don't want to be around them in my off time. So, what's a great place for that? A water park.
Yeah, that was not what you wanted to do, Matt. Was going during the day when the kids are all at school. That's what you really wanted to do.
Yeah, that's what I should have done, but you know,
that would be the smart play. Now the summer's hit. This is the first week of like proper summer weather, and by that I mean I am miserable because I am too warm. You can probably hear the faint noise of the fan that I've got across the room trying to blow some air from the window over my direction so that I don't faint mid recording. Now, admittedly, I'm a bit of a perfectionist with the sound. It annoys me that you can probably hear it. However, it'd also be worse for the podcast if I pass out halfway through. So I'm going to split the difference and live with it. But
see, with us, you know, I always have my fan running because I need air circulating, but I don't think you can hear it, so it's not too much.
Oh, it's a ceiling fan you've got in there, right?
Yeah.
I did quite quiet. This is a standy-uppy one with the cage.
Yeah, well, except that one time where our air conditioner took a dump, and I had to have a full-on fan as we were trying to record. Those were in the days before comics. That was old school, 1.21, on a real scorcher of a day. You could see me drip. You know, needed that fan. And Pete had me shut it off because it was too loud.
You saw the handkerchief every so often come in just to wipe the brow. That was one of those days. Although I'm not far off it. You can sort of see how shiny my head is right now, actually. But here we are. We're going to talk about comics. Oh, dear. And it won't be 3.5 hours long like last week.
Nope.
Which, to be fair, I actually think we had a really good show last week. I was actually really happy with our 52nd episode. Yeah. The problem from being 3.5 hours long, though, is that the other things me and Connor had to do afterwards, because we were supposed to review Doctor Who later that day, we never got to that because it took so long to record and it took so long to edit and export. The actual podcast went up like 3 hours later than it normally does because all the extra editing and exporting and uploading time. So it has a knock-on effect. But
that's what happens when you let me lead the top 10 list. Yeah, that's a lesson.
Yeah, that was a bad idea. That was a bad idea, but here we are. So, welcome to episode 53. It's a brave new world. But alright. So I mentioned we had some news. We had solicits this week, and as I typically do with the solicits, I've went through and I have collected all the ones that say part 1, at least for the ones that we cover. If it's ones that we don't talk about at all, if none of us are reading them, I might just leave them away because they're not of interest. But all the ones we actually cover in some capacity, whether it's one of us or all three of us, I've picked out the ones that have part 1s. So I'm going to read you the descriptions of these new arcs, and we'll notice anything that's of interest. So first up, Action Comics 985. Two things to note: A, it's a part 1. B, it's not Dan Jurgens.
Yeah, that's troubling.
Well, not to be fair, on Twitter he did say it was a planned break that he's taken so that he can get the next stuff ready and finish a couple of other things that he's doing. So it's not an exit. It's just a couple of fill-in issues.
Yeah, you better be working on Booster Gold. That's all I gotta say.
And it's written by Rob Williams, who seems to be the fill-in man because he's filling in for a couple of issues of Trinity soon. That just seems to be his job outside of Suicide Squad. But yeah, so it's called Eve of Destruction. And Superman finds himself side by side with Lex Luthor once more, but his former foe truly committed to being a hero, or is it just a ruse to gain the Man of Steel's trust? As world events point to something dark in the horizon, the mysterious Mr. Oz makes his final move against the Man of Tomorrow. So to be fair, it doesn't sound like a fill-in story, at the very least. It sounds mainline.
It has the written by, so I'm wondering if he's going to still have a story kind of deal.
Possibly.
With Jurgens. Because he's been part of that major group. With John's pushing the stories forward. So
yeah, it's probably whatever's going to happen in the story's probably mapped out. Yeah, it's probably that kind of case. But yeah, so Mr. Oz is making a move then in Eve of Destruction, so that should be interesting. Batgirl number 14, Summer of Lies, Part 1. Batgirl and Nightwing's feelings for each other have always run deep.
No.
Yeah, I know. But is their bond built in more than Bat family loyalty and a long-ago childhood crush? When an old villain comes back into Bab's life, she and Dick will have to reopen painful wounds and remember time they'd hoped would remain forgotten. This is an event no Batgirl or Nightwing fan will want to miss.
Check and check, because I like both.
Yeah,
so.
That's pretty cool. I'm down for a Batgirl and Nightwing sort of team-up event, or not event, but story arc. No surprise to anyone. So that's that. Batwoman number 6, Open Fire, Part 1. Return to the brief flash of the future scene in Batwoman Rebirth issue 1 and meet Commander Kane, a battle-hardened version of Batwoman. Hurting from battles unknown, she's taken control of the deadly colony and declared war in Gotham City. What could possibly cause Kate Kane to bring the battlefront to her home? Find out here.
So here's the payoff from that Rebirth issue.
Yep. At least that one main final page, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm kind of glad that it's kind of almost a what if, it sounds like. Like, this is if things go the wrong way.
Is that a what if, though? I thought it was just maybe set slightly in the future, and then we find out why she's doing this.
Yeah, I just can't see her declaring war in Gotham City at this point. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I cannot. To be fair, I'm just. Yeah. I mean, maybe it will turn out to be like a hallucination, or maybe she's got Black Mercy on or something. I don't know. But I mean,
yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean by a what if, kind of like a hinting. I like when stories do that. You know, it's not exactly continuity, but it still builds the story going forward.
Yeah, whatever is going on, I imagine it will do some character stuff for her. That'll, she'll realize something she needs to realize for our next thing. So, no, Detective Comics 963. It's called Longer Chains, Part 1, of course. Again, having exiled herself from Batman's world, Spoiler has nearly destroyed herself trying to expose the corruption of Gotham City's vigilantes. Fortunately for her, help has arrived, but unfortunately for the city, it's in the form of the mysterious Anarchy. He is truly on the side of the people, or is he a dangerous lunatic? This is interesting because I feel like this could be the next issue, but based on what we're going to talk about in this week's issue later. But fair enough. We'll leave that. We'll just leave that for the conversation later, so as not to spoil anything for people. Because some people I know use the timestamps to skip certain books if they're not caught up in them. So we'll leave that as it is. Flash number 28. This arc's called Negative. It's a bleak new day for the citizens of Central City as they meet Negative Flash.
This is so Silver Age.
Oh,
I love Williamson for it.
obviously, there's more, but I'll put a pause there. I wanted to get your reaction
Yeah.
for Negative Flash, not Reverse Flash, Negative Flash. He's got a terrible attitude and a volatile powers that leave a wake of destruction wherever he goes. Exactly the kind of person you'd want the Flash to put behind bars. There's just one problem: he is the Flash. Can Barry Allen get his new powers under control before they kill him? So what this sounds like to me, it sounds like the Flash read Kryptonite.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
He just needs a Snickers because you're not yourself when you're hungry.
That's also true. That's also true.
Uh-huh.
But that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like a Red Kryptonite story, but for the Flash.
Yeah. I wonder if it has anything to do with the Speed Force and what we just saw in the button and all that type of stuff.
Maybe. I hope the suit's green because green's the opposite of red.
Instead of red, yeah.
So I want the negative. As if someone's put the negative filter on the, on the Photoshop or whatever. Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps number 26. This new arc's called Follow the Gods. Ancient hunters awaken across the cosmos to end Highfather and the new gods. Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps, draw the line between gods, but that won't stop the body count as the most powerful deities in the universe go to war.
So that's interesting because I think it was in Green Lanterns we just got that flashback to the third world and like the first one of the first Green Lanterns.
Yeah, one of the first ones, yeah.
But I also don't really like when they cross the new gods with the Green Lanterns. And that seems to be what this is doing, so I'm a little bit worried. Hearing it involves Highfather.
Yeah. Well, I'm not reading it, so I don't have much of a horse in the race. But
and I blame Connor, because I wouldn't be reading it, but then,
Yeah, then he teased you with some Guy Gardner nonsense, and you caught
pulling
up.
out an eye. It's pretty dope.
Nightwing number 26 is the start of a new arc called Spiral. Huntress comes back into Nightwing's life at his lowest moment, but is she here to help him find the man who killed one of Dick's closest allies, or is she here to carry out a mission of her own?
Spiral, you can't leave it.
There was a lot in there to unpack there. One of Dick's closest allies gets offed? What? God damn it. Just put that in the solicitation.
I'm willing to bet it's somebody from Spiral. That was one of his closest allies in that book.
I could see it.
Because of the title. And we know Huntress left. So, she's running around with the birds.
Yeah, I feel like it may be about that. Like the villain may be Spiral related to the go after. So
yeah,
and that should be fun. Actually, again, Nightwing. We're getting a Nightwing Batgirl team up in Batgirl, and then we're getting a Nightwing Huntress team up in Nightwing.
Yeah,
I'm down for these pairings. These are
he's proving to be the cog of the DC wheel, like we said last week.
Right, next up, Supergirl, number 12 starts Emerald Eradication. Emerald Empress' attack on Supergirl begins as her new Fatal Five assembles. Empress' plan to destroy Supergirl's present to prevent her future goes into preserve her future, not prevent, preserve her future, goes into full swing as Supergirl tries to hold her own, but soon even her abilities are out of her control. Does it make sense? This is kind of a sort of knock-on effect of everything we've been building up to since the Suicide Squad event.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And I like hearing the Fatal Five. That's a Legion
I'm
villain
sure
group.
do. Yes, they exist. I will agree to them existing.
Mm-hmm. But that means, so if there's a Fatal Five, then there has to be a Legion somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, or they were erased from history, so they have to come back. But at some point, there was a.
If you don't want to be spoiled, don't look at the cover to the annual.
Oh right, yes. Well, yes, Well, yeah, that's worth mentioning. There's a Supergirl annual in August because that's a fifth week one.
Yep.
And what's interesting about the Supergirl annual is that it's actually just part 2 of the story. It's not a separate. There might be extra stuff like backup stories, but the main story is still part 2 of this. Whereas the Green Arrow annual they announced for August is like a standalone, I believe.
Right.
In fact, I think the third one was a Red Hood and the Outlaws annual.
I'm looking.
Not that I'm going to be reading it, but
no, but Connor is.
Yeah, I know someone who might be.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's kind of funny. All right, so that's Supergirl. Superman number 28 is the start of a new arc as well. It's called Fear Itself. Tomasi and Gleason are joined by co-writer Keith Champagne. in a story that returns to their Green Lantern roots and asks the question of what scares Superman. The second solicitation for this, which I don't have in front of me, did clarify this a bit more, as did the cover for the next issue, which had Superman in a Sinestro Corps uniform. So this is going to be about the Yellow Rings.
God, I kind of like that, but I kind of don't.
Well, just because he's in the suit in the cover, I don't think that necessarily means like.
Oh no, I know, but we all know I rail against bad Superman, right? Like I hate that trope, but he looks kind of dope in the costume, like. Yeah, and his eyes are glowing red. We all know how I feel about that too.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So that's Superman. And the final one we've got here in New York, Trinity number 12, again by Rob Williams, who seems to be the fill-in man for stories.
Yes.
Although this has a much more interesting plot than the last couple of fill-in issues. Dark Destiny Part 1, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman must turn to the mystic trinity of Deadman, Zatanna, and John Constantine when Red Hood, Artemis, and Bizarro are sacrificed into the depths of Pandora's pits by Circe and Ra's al Ghul. So this has 3 trinities in it.
Yep.
And the one we care least about seems to be the one who's in trouble, and the other 2 trinities have to team up to. So this could either be very entertaining or not, I guess. But there's potential there.
Yeah. I just laugh that Circe and Ra's al Ghul turn on their trinity so fast. Like they were just introduced a couple issues ago, and we're already getting to him flipping.
Yeah,
that's pretty hilarious.
Of course. But yeah, we got. I like Deadman Zatanna, so could be fun. I'm not necessarily convinced it'll be, but I think there's more promise there than there was in the last couple of fill-ins.
Yep.
So, and there you go. That's all the New Yorks from the solicits. So that'll take us on to some books. So we're going to start, of course, with the big crossover book, Deathstroke number 19. Christopher Priest, Dan Abnett, and Ben Percy writing. Carlo Pagulayan on art. And this continued kind of where we left off. Slade's got speed. Wally runs after him. Wally eventually is convinced to turn around. We get a little bit of flashbacks. We see what the deal was with Dick, which was back in his Robin days. Wally goes to Jericho for help to deal with what's going on. Meanwhile, Slade, a couple of other flashbacks to sort of prominent moments in his relationship with Grant and stuff, which. From what I've read of his series are actually stuff we'd already seen in his series, but just extra bits added onto it. And of course,
a little more context there.
Yeah, and of course the final cliffhanger being that he does actually go back in time and he meets Grant in costume.
I am so disappointed in this.
Really?
Yeah, we got the tease early on that it was for the Lazarus contract. I really thought there was going to be some resurrection of some kind, or.
Well, I mean, I think like if he managed to save Grant, I feel like that is kind of a resurrection. It's just maybe not the resurrection in the way you were expecting it, but. No,
but like the term Lazarus contract, it was revealed here. That is a contract that he'll put on the side, but can revive at any time.
Yeah, that's what the word Lazarus in this context means. Yeah.
Ugh, that's like finding out the MacGuffin's like a.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't super pissed about that because I mean, as much as we speculated about what who gave him the Lazarus contract, as much as that was the case, I wasn't super about. I did have some problems with this issue though. I think this is the most choppy of the issues because it really felt like it started off pretty consistent with the last couple, which meant it was fun, and then the middle of it seemed to go, oh no wait, this is a Deathstroke issue. Let's be a Deathstroke issue, and then just at the end it flipped back, but it was like. A big chunk in the middle where it turned into Deathstroke mode, and I don't mean that just in the sense that it focused on him. I mean, it brought the scene title cards and things like that. It tried to make it feel more like a Deathstroke issue, and the pacing of the issue felt really weird because of it. It felt kind of disjointed.
Yeah, well, and it's gonna stand out differently than Teen Titans and Titans. Also, like when they do collect this, it's gonna feel real different. I think, but yeah, we did get a great moment in. Deathstroke saying he's the fastest killer alive.
Yeah, I like that line.
I think that's what he said, as a play up to the Flash. And, Priest is really good at writing Deathstroke. I just think the story kind of feels half-cooked because, again, you'd mentioned the stuff with Grant, but that's real early. The recent stuff in Deathstroke's been more about Rose and Joey, and not so much about Grant.
Oh yeah, sure.
So,
I mean, Rose is brought up, of course. That's part of the deal that he made with Dick, is that he wants Dick to impart
trainer, which I liked.
Yeah, impart his
because
values onto her.
Because we got that early in the Batman issue with Damian and stuff, as Damian mentioned that she fights like Grayson, kind of. So that was a nice payoff for here, that legit she was.
Yeah, no, I liked that well enough. I liked Wally going to Jericho. I liked that. I liked, like, because Wally runs off when he realizes that with Slade with speed, he can't take him on a fight, so he has to go and sort of seek other avenues. So, but no, it obviously ends in this big cliffhanger where he sees Grant, and that's kind of where we end. And obviously, we're going to have the bigger final issue, which is the annual, the Teen Titans annual, which is coming next week. And I'm still looking forward to that because I feel like it could be a pretty entertaining final. I do think this issue is going to stand out as kind of the weird weak link because it did feel so disjointed.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's a bit of a shame. Art was a little bit strange in a couple of places, I thought, as well. I thought there was a couple of moments with Deathstroke when he was running at super speed where his helmet almost looked like it was shaped like the Martian Manhunter head.
Yeah.
It had this pointy back to it. It was weird.
Well, and there's no other focus point like that on any of his other body parts, so that's weird. Usually when you want to do speed like that, you see it across, but not just the head. Almost like he was getting sucked into a portal of some kind. You know?
Yeah, it was later on. It was after the whole middle chunk where we got the sort of what I'll call the Deathstroke part of the issue. He was running along and he just had this really pointy back of his head, and it was really like distracting me. I thought it looked strange. Also worth noting that New Wally's powers are temporarily gone for the time being, which fine, makes some sense if you stole them.
Yeah, he gave them up to Deathstroke. You know, like.
Yeah, not necessarily intentionally, admittedly, but no. But yeah, I do like the idea. There's that one page though. Admittedly, it's when I think his helmet looks almost the worst of the entire issue. But I do like the idea that he's sped about the planet and like assassinated like 4 people, like in the space of a few minutes.
Dude, taking care of loose ends, I think he said.
Yeah. So it's just this like series of panels of all these dead people in different countries, and it's like, oh, this is why you don't give assassins and serial killers super speed, because they can just wreck things up.
Yeah. And also that he had used the gravity sheath on the Icon suit. That's how he was able to time travel, which I thought that was interesting because he brings up the theory that gravity can bend time and whatnot if you're moving fast enough.
Yeah.
So it's basically something only he can do. But yeah, I still want to know what happened at this wedding. Like I need to know why Rose is all laid up.
Oh, I'm sure that's going to come up in the new Deathstroke issues.
Yeah, it's just such an odd jump,
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I'm enjoying the crossover well enough, but it is definitely a sort of, it's a lesser one, as opposed to like the Button or, I don't know, like.
Well, I wasn't expecting it to be that big. I just expected it to be more concise, because you have Deathstroke and all the Titans have this relationship, and it just, I don't know, it feels empty here, and I hope this fixes that a little.
Oh, well,
but like, so
here's
if he had a
here's the odd thing. I think Deathstroke's actually the weakest part. I feel like the Titans interacting with the Teen Titans has mostly been. I mean, it's not been deep or anything like groundbreaking, but it's been fun. The interactions have felt kind of natural. They feel like, oh, this is how, Damian would speak to Wally. This is how this and that. But like Deathstroke himself, like the motivations are, as you say, they don't. They feel like they come out kind of nowhere compared to his main series.
Oh. There's definitely, and you had so much to build on too with the relationship with Rose and Joey, and even the Chicago issue about you're just creating more if you more pain and whatnot. So I guess I just wanted to have more of an emotional hit than just.
Yeah, well, I mean that last point I can kind of see it in there to an extent, though, because he wants to change everything that's happened since then. He wants to like this whole career path that he's taken since that day. He wants to alter it.
But that's the thing with the Lazarus contract. If he put it on hold with the Titans, then does that mean none of the other interactions with him since then have happened, right? Because that's what the Lazarus contract stated, that contract was null until later.
Yeah, I guess it does mean that in this post New 52 universe, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's odd, I guess then. And I guess is the Judas contract not happened then too?
Well, no, I think it happened.
Well, because of the Lazarus contract, right?
Yeah, but was this deal with Dick not after the Judas contract?
I don't think so.
I mean, we're reading it for next week, so we can maybe have a better opinion come then. But
yeah. Because he's still Robin when he makes the deal.
Oh yeah, but I took that as just this saying that he wasn't Nightwing for Judas contract in this timeline now, as opposed to before where because obviously that's where he got his original Nightwing, his original terrible Nightwing suit, might I add.
Yeah. It's based off the Flying Graysons and Dead Man. It's fine.
I mean, it's still terrible, but yeah. I'm not saying I don't understand it. It's just terrible.
Yeah, because it says it's a year after Grant's death, so maybe Judas' contract happened.
Yeah, because I got the impression this was after. It's just when he finds out about Rose. This is when he he makes this choice when he finds out about Rose, because that's the inciting incident for it. But no. So yeah, bit of a clunkier issue. I didn't hate it by any means. It was still easy enough to read. Certainly the Titans and Teen Titans stuff was the more highlight. Especially Wally and Jericho was fun. I liked the Damien talking down to New Wally about we found out one of your superpowers is super gullibility and things like that. So that stuff's still kind of on point. It almost just kind of feels like they maybe like squished this into too few issues. I feel like it maybe if it had 6 issues instead of 4, and they let some of the motivations from Slade especially get a bit more time to explore, I think that would probably flesh this out a bit more. Yeah,
because Deathstroke's the only one that double ships, right? So you could have started with the Deathstroke.
Yeah, you could have.
And then the other ones, and then ended. So it would have been a 5-part story instead of a 4.
That said, it's not double shipping anymore, but it was up until now.
No, yeah.
But yeah,
so yeah, just for me, a bit disappointing from what I had envisioned for something like the Lazarus contract. But next week we get the annual, and I think it's bigger size, right? Like most annuals.
Yeah, it's 50 pages, whatever an annual typically goes for these days.
Cool.
So no, I think it was fine, but it was just kind of it had some clunkiness. Art was a little bit spotty here or there, and yeah. So it's a shame, but it's just kind of weird. I mean, because even like Night of the Monster Men, the Batman crossover, I thought was more consistent than this. The art changed issue, but the storyline was tight through across. Yeah. All right. That's Deathstroke. That'll take us on to Detective Comics 957, James Tynion IV and Christopher Sebela writing, and Carmen Carnero on art. So this was a Stephanie Brown issue. Obviously we knew she was going to be in it based on last week's little tease at the end, but it was her issue. It was from her perspective. She was the main character, and we opened with basically her sabotaging the bat signal. And Bullock being pissed because she keeps doing it, and he keeps getting upset that his donuts are getting messed up.
He gets so distracted by the donuts, though. Like, come on, man, you're a cop in Gotham. Like,
to be fair, though,
that's why I love Bullock, though. I mean, the dude has problems.
I was looking at that first page where he's eating the donut, and I'm like, man, I really want a donut now.
Yeah, until the bug drops on it.
Oh yeah, sure, sure.
But
Joe, I thought was really smart about this issue, right? See the opening with this thing with Bullock. She's narrating throughout the whole issue in her caption boxes, and I at the start of the issue I was kind of questioning what this was, because she said like, the time of the heroes doesn't work, it gets more people hurt, but then I was like, but you're essentially still doing it. Like, what are you doing different? And what I liked about this issue is the rest of the issue then went on to answer that question.
Yeah.
Like, it almost assumed you're going to ask that. As the reader, you're going to ask, how is this any different, what you're doing? and then it takes its time to say, no, this is what's different. This is what she's trying to do. She's trying to get there, fix the problems like Batman would, but make sure that she goes on the scene and lets the cops take the credit. Because the whole theory from her is that Batman almost has become this thing where the villains want to face and rise up for fame. Like, it gives them this reason to be absurd and over the top, and by making it just this normal crime that the cops take care of, it takes the specialness out of it. Takes that
and I still, it shows her idealism, but it also shows that, but the cops didn't handle it, and by you, if you're not there and there's not people like you there, you're kind of doing more harm than good. You're no better really than Batman still.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of...
So I like that. I like
flawed.
that dynamic.
Yeah. It's like you understand her, but it's a flawed way of thinking.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But you get it, you understand her. Yeah, so that's generic big villain called Wrath. And I like that he's generic. I think it's important for this story that he's generic.
See, I feel like he'd showed up at some point in the New 52, which I like that Tynion did. You're going to pull this generic one from the New 52 and make him
Joey,
easily dealt with.
Joey, it looks like the lead bad guy from that first JLA arc. What was his name? I've forgotten. That's how forgettable those villains were in that first. That only ended like a month ago.
Lord Havoc.
Havoc. There we
Lord
go.
Havoc. The Doctor Doom ripoff.
Aye, it reminded me of him with his design. But he goes to a TV news station, he takes it over, and he wants to broadcast, Batman, come and face me, blah blah, mahahaha, I'm an evil villain now, I'm going to take over Gotham.
Well, he's going to kill Batman to show how much better he is.
Which of course he's not going to. They always, as Stephanie even says, they always do this. They always call him out, I'm going to be the one who does it, because I'm the best. And then of course it doesn't happen. And Stephanie, of course, spoils his plans. See what I did there?
Well, she even explains that too, why she's the spoiler, and she's not she's not giving away the ending. She's just preventing things from happening, and I like that.
Yeah, and it's really simple. She sneaks around, she beats up some guys, she hacks into this guy's like mech suit so that he gets like sort of. She basically beats him without ever touching him, which he gets pissed at. And he's like, "Oh, you cheated! There's like honor to this. There's rules." And
she tricks him into thinking that Batman's there. Which really drops his guard. I like that.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed the art actually. I thought it was kind of old school, but I did like how it played with the lights and the shadows. Probably my favourite page was she attacks someone in the dark, and it's like all black background, and you just see like it's like she's mostly shadow, but at one point she's holding the helmet of this fallen soldier that's got a light on it in the eye, and it's like glowing on her, and it's nice. Yeah. It's nice. I wouldn't say it's amazing art, but like I think it works for the issue, and I enjoyed it. And then at the end, like Bullock tries to arrest her, and she's like, "Nah, sorry, that's not happening. But I'm letting you take credit." And she, smoke bombs her way out of it.
Yeah. Congrats, you're a hero. To Bullock is all flummoxed. Like.
Yeah, but Bullock's just like, "Oh, nah, I'm taking you in. You keep pissing me off with your, sabotaging the bat signal." So no, that's pretty much it. Obviously, the ending, of course, is that, and this is why we said in this solicit for the later issue, we thought, wait a minute, are you sure that's not until August? Because it feels like it could be the next one. Because Anarchy shows up at the end, and he's like, "Oh, I'm really impressed with what you just did."
Yeah. So I feel like this was the prelude to the last arc with Cassandra, how we got to see her follow the ballet.
Yeah, I can see what you mean.
The ballerina, and then...
Now, admittedly, I could look at the solicits and find out, but do you think we're just going to go into a new arc after this, and then we'll come back to this for that new arc in August? Yeah. I think that makes sense.
It's his next intelligence, and I don't think that has anything to do with Anarchy nor Spoiler. I mean, it could do with Spoiler, because we saw what she did here, but...
Do you know what I actually like about that? I like that they decided to put this sort of prologue issue here, because it's just like, oh, you've not had Stephanie in over an arc. You're probably missing her. Here's an issue with her to remind you, no, she's still around. We're going to come back to her, but we're going to do another arc first. But you get your one issue to just feel like, oh, Stephanie's still around. It's okay.
Because weren't we teased at the end of the last one with Magic and Ulysses and his type of stuff? So I'm wondering if we head...
Yeah,
so like Azrael or Batwing kind of gets an arc next.
Oh yeah. I think we're going down the Magic route next arc. Yeah, and that could tie into the Azrael thing that they've teased a few times. Or maybe they'll save that until after the spoiler thing. Who knows? But I like that they've got so much map. Like, not, you know, they've teased so much that we can almost say, oh, we've got enough for at least 3 arcs that they've teased. Never mind what they're keeping to themselves so far.
And I like that it's Detective Comics. It's not just focused on Batman. You know, we're getting all of the characters. Even Bullock here got some shine.
This is a Bullock
instead of Gordon.
This is a Stephanie and Bullock issue. That's what it is. Yeah. I mean, and that's cool. So,
yeah.
All right, that'll take us on to Action Comics 980. Dan Jurgens writing, Patrick Zircher on art. This is continuing where the last one left off with the Superman Revenge Squad, mainly Eradicator and Cyborg Superman, going to free Zod, which we never actually quite get to. It's kind of mostly on the trip there because the Black Vault, which Waller has, which is this fancy like tech that basically makes you think of your deepest fears and your anxieties and makes you confused and disorientated. And Eradicator's immune to it because he's completely like synthetic, so he's good, he's solid. Superman goes and makes sure Lois and John are okay, and he's like, okay, I need to go and deal with this. He goes to the Watchtower, talks to Batman, he sees where they are. He's like, okay, they're Belle Reve, I'm going to go to Belle Reve. And that's pretty much it. There was some good stuff with Batman there, but Batman wants to jump in and help, and Superman's like, nope.
Not with these guys,
yeah.
Bruce. It's a little, you're punching out of your weight class here. He does it respectfully, though, too. Like...
Oh, yeah.
Also... with the Black Vault, I feel like they're trying to get us to go read Suicide Squad, which I'm just not going to do.
They're trying real hard. I was mixed. I thought this issue was fine. Like, it was enjoyable for the most part, but I did think some of the Black Vault stuff felt a little bit like, oh, here's the Hank Henshaw history now.
Well, and I was going to say that I like that it, for those that maybe didn't read any of that or don't know that right now, it sums it up in a nice page, how... what had happened before, because that really hasn't happened to this Hank Henshaw. Because Superman had saved that ship. That was the whole point of Jurgens' miniseries.
Yeah, what it doesn't really tell me, though, is how does he become human? Because obviously we've just seen him become Cyborg Superman again.
Yeah.
But that just happened. So
right.
This tells us the general backstory of like how he first became Cyborg Superman, but it doesn't tell us how he became human so he could become Cyborg Superman again.
But that's the whole thing. He was never Cyborg. So that Wish Stone, right? Because we're still in the merged realities now.
Okay.
So at that point, the Henshaw thing hadn't happened up till he formed himself last issue. When he put the Oblivion Stones together, I think that caused the ripples. And that's what created him
all right, so
from who he was before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we saw Superman's history that this, like, he was there after Doomsday.
Oh, God damn it. I forgot about that. I forgot he was there.
So that says
so he gets so focused on the other thing that wasn't there.
Yeah. No, nothing was missing. That what are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, like so he had to be.
I know what you're saying. Now I'm upset.
So he was Cyborg Superman for post Doomsday as he was like originally, and then he had to become human again so that he could get the stones and become Cyborg Superman again. So I don't know how that happened.
God damn it, D52, you ruined things for me so much. Because I was fine just thinking like, oh yeah, this is just picking up from threads from Jurgens, but you're right because of the
murky, very murky. Obviously, Superman goes in and he sees them briefly mid sort of his own like sort of little epidemic where he sees zombie Jonathan and Martha coming after him.
Yeah.
Which actually, I mean, the cliffhanger of the issue is that he's still trapped in there and he sees not only zombie Jonathan and Martha but zombie John and Lois coming for him. Well,
yeah, and there's his dad. There's Jor-El. There's Perry.
Oh yeah, I see Jor-El. I see Jimmy. Jimmy's there.
Yeah.
Is that Cat, I guess, with the blonde hair?
Goldie. Oh, Cat. You said Cat with the gold hair. I went to the actual Cat. That
oh
John
no, wait,
shot.
hon. She's got like a Kryptonian, so that's probably his mother.
That's his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see Perry. I see Superwoman at the bottom. There we go.
Mm-hmm. And then it's his parents.
Yeah, his parents. Yeah.
And I like that, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe this will play into the Superman arc of the Fear coming up in August that we talked about.
Yeah, it might actually. Yeah, maybe it'll be lasting effects from this Black Vault that's caused it. I don't know. No, I mean, I enjoyed the issue well enough, but I didn't think it was I thought it was weaker than the last one, mainly because I thought the whole, we need to to have 2 pages of Cyborg Superman's history. That felt a little bit forced to me. I felt like we'd done that with Superman and the Fortress, a few issues ago, and this one felt like a little bit more shoehorned into. I was like, but I mean, I like where the plot's going though. I like that. I still like that the Revenge Squad are going after Zod. I like Superman going after that.
Yeah, and they're going after Zod because he can access the Fortress, which none of them can do. But because he's Kryptonian and is familiar with the tech, he can get in there. And although, even if they get Zod out, I can't see him being amenable. Am I saying that right? Anyways, to these people, especially to someone like Mongol.
Yeah. But I guess the whole idea is that they'll hate Superman enough that they'll put aside their differences until they've dealt with that. Eradicator wants to have a new Krypton, so it's given. I mean, I feel like if that was going to happen, they'd have probably announced a big event already called New Krypton, like they did last time there was a new Krypton. So I don't see it coming to fruition, but that's that.
No.
I like that when Superman goes to see Lois and John, though, he Lois is like, wait, you've got all these guys to fight? Like, isn't that dangerous? And he's like, no, it's no problem. And I like in the narration, he's like, no, she knows it's a big deal. I can't lie to her. But she knows I'm lying, but she's lying as well, so that John doesn't get worried. I like that little touch.
Well, it's being a parent, they're white lies, so you don't freak out the kid.
I think what I liked about it though is it's kind of this weird spin on the actual initial, she doesn't know he's Superman and Clark has to lie about it. It's kind of like a weird spin on that into a real world thing where you lie to your kid so they don't worry. I like that little spin on it. I think that's fun. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the scene with Batman and stuff. I think just I think in a trade, this issue will be completely fine. I think just as a single issue though, on its own, it didn't have a big end, middle, and end that felt fulfilling, I guess. Yeah,
well, when I got to the end of it, I was like, oh, it's done.
Yeah, that's what I felt. Because
I wasn't paying attention to the page count as I was going, and I get to the last page, I was like, oh, I guess I'm done.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So. Like I say, in part of a trade, it's probably fine. It's just when I got to that last page, I'm like, oh, right, it's finished. We're ended there, okay.
And I know, covers aren't indicative of what's inside, but I did expect to see Zod at one point, just him in an appearance, maybe in the Phantom Zone or whatever, or even Henshaw's fear that Zod won't, help him out. Whatever, I don't know.
Yeah. But. Yeah, I mean, if anything, as I was reading it, I was expecting the villains to get through it quite easily because they mention Eradicator's immune, and I thought they would get to Zod, but Superman would be trapped in the thing on his own. Because obviously he's not expecting it, he just flies right into it without thinking about it. Maybe some hindsight, in hindsight, maybe some thought about that would have been good.
Yeah, he's the one that rushes in, though. Batman's the one that looks at it from all angles. So,
which is probably why it wouldn't surprise me if Batman's the one who saves him next issue if he's trapped in there.
Because he knows he's going to Belle Reve. Yeah. So it makes sense.
Because he'll probably keep monitoring it. He'll see Zod and the other cronies coming out. He'll be like, "Really, how's Clark? What's going on?" And he'll go on his bat plane and figure things out.
Another fine mess you've gotten us into, Clark. I like that. I like Superman being the invulnerable guy that doesn't think, he just reacts. And, Bruce is the guy that's right there cleaning up after him. God, I need another Superman Batman book to explore that. DC, hit me up.
To be fair, we got 2 Superman books, 2 Batman books, and we got a Trinity book. So I think we're getting our fair share.
But we had Superman, Wonder Woman. We can have Batman, Wonder Woman, and then Superman, Batman. It'll all work out. It's fine. Right.
So you want 3 double team books as well on top of Trinity. You want 3 pairs. Okay.
Yeah. That's fine.
All right. I'll just make it clear.
If it's good, I will read it. This is my biggest problem with DC right now, is that there's so much good that I'm reading just about everything.
Well, that's good,
as you guys know.
It'll be a sad day if we all only like a few books and it's the podcast is 30 minutes long every week because it's the rest of it sucks.
Which this is what gets me in trouble with my wife is when, last week it was a huge DC week compared to this week.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm spending all the money on it. This week I'm not spending nearly as much, so
No, that's true.
I will gladly spend the money on DC though.
All right, I guess that wraps up the action. Let's talk about Wonder Woman number 23. Greg Rucka writing and Liam Sharp on art. Of course, we only have 2 regular issues left.
Pains me.
In fact, this was the last issue of this arc, because then the next one will be the last issue of the Godwatch arc, and then the final issue is like an epilogue almost to the whole thing.
Yep.
So,
but we also next week have the annual.
We do.
Is by Rucka. So
yeah, at least the main 2 stories are written by Rucka. There's a few stories in it.
Yeah. The main one though, I think it's how Wonder Woman met Superman and Batman.
Yeah, but it's the original and it's drawn by Nicholas Scott, and then the present day of them meeting them is drawn by Sharp. So that should be a really fun little idea. I like that.
This deluxe hardcover is going to be amazing when it comes out.
Yeah, it'll be 2 volumes for the Rucka stuff. So yeah, that'll be pretty cool. So basically, we're left with Ares in the tree from last issue. In here, and we basically find out that he was chained up, but once he got chained up, he was actually glad he was, because the need for war made him go mad. So he's actually it's like a welcome imprisonment, and the reason why Themyscira is the path back is blocked to anyone who leaves is so that no one can get to him. That's why it's that hard to get back.
And it's the Amazonians' job. Amazons? What's the plural? Is it Amazonian or Amazons?
The Amazons. Yeah, Amazons.
Okay. Amazons. Yeah, because Odyssey had the Amazons. I should know that. Anyways, it's their job to keep it protected. And that's why they're there. That's why they're these warrior women that keep pure war kind of in check.
Yeah, I would have one complaint about this issue is that it did feel very exposition heavy in the first half. Like it was a big dump.
Yeah.
Like it was just pages and pages of explaining sort of everything that's been going on since this run started. So it was a little bit poorly structured in that sense. However, I did actually like all the answers. All of the answers I actually thought worked really well, and I was into it.
They were very satisfying. And it's even... Go ahead.
I was going to say, and then it got very emotional at the end, and I liked the emotion. Yeah. So
just with Diana not being able to go back, I like how it's tied to, well, we can't trust anybody. It's not, it's not just men that can free, Ares. It's even our own people that leave and come back because they might have been tempted by the outside world. I like... Yeah.
And we find out, of course, the snake bite was him. It was Ares giving her a path to him, should she ever need to, which is interesting. And we find out that the reason why he was captured in the first place, I mean, he was chained, but it wasn't the chains, it was love, because love is the opposite of war, of course. So Wonder Woman basically, as Phobos and Deimos, am I saying those names right? I always forget their names.
Yeah, Phobos and Deimos.
Phobos and Deimos. They're fighting the Amazons on Themyscira, and they're trying to hold ground. It's not going super well, but she's like, right, let them in, because Ares can let people in. He can basically open the door to let them in if he wants to.
Well, that's how Izzy got there.
Yeah, and they come in, and Wonder Woman's just sitting there with the lasso, and they basically demand to know, where's her father? Say something. And she just says, "I love you." And she's holding the lasso though, so she has to be telling the truth. And this is all down to Wonder Woman loving compassion and those being a big part of her character, and so it felt like a very prominent moment for her. Sort of really establishing this is who she is right now. She has developed to the point where she is this character. She is the Wonder Woman that we all kind of think about, and that's really cool. And that's what traps them as well. And Ares agrees to keep them, and she's like, "All right, you can go back that way." But Izzy's, sorry, I was gonna say Izzy's daughter, Izzy, Veronica's daughter, can't go back. It'll separate her, or she'll go blank-faced again if she leaves. However, she can go the other way to Themyscira. And that was a really cool idea. So she has to emotionally say goodbye to her mother. Wonder Woman's face as she realizes where she's going, when she realizes what the offer is, it's quite good. And we of course end in that thing where even though we can see a path through, I don't get the impression that Wonder Woman and the Amazons can see through themselves, because we end in that great touching moment where they're on either side of the tree. And they're talking to each other, and I don't even think they can hear each other. It's one of those just quiet moments where, she touches a tree and says, "My daughter."
I like to think that Diana can, because I want her to hear that Mom's proud of her. That might just be my own,
wishful
psyche
thinking
being into play. Yeah, but oh man, and it's so tragic that she really can't go back. Like it's done. Like,
but the fact is,
like
the fact is though, is the stories kind of put her in this place where she's proved herself like worthy of her power. Like she's, the whole realizing that love is what beats war is kind of like. She's kind of realised enough that she should be allowed to go back, but I kind of like that she can't, because it's this real bittersweet thing here at the end. And it's like knowing, the Amazons know she's out there doing the good work, as it were.
Right.
And she knows they're back there protecting Ares and protecting war. Because war is a necessity in terms of, like, those feelings are needed in the world. Yeah.
And it's not just, what we think of war with bombs and soldiers, but
yeah, that's the extreme.
It's even like
that's the high end of the scale.
But it's like your internal struggle.
Yeah,
that's like her coming to terms with Phobos and Deimos, which is terror and panic, right?
Yeah.
When she finally embraces those and accepts them, that's when she wins.
Yeah, I think, like. The whole idea that the war does need to exist. It needs to be like something we can feel, because that's what he says. It's not like they've erased Ares from existence. Right. It just needs to be kept in check. That's why he's been held captive. Because when he was around and whatever, it was it was chaos. It was everyone was dying.
Well, and don't forget that Athena's also a goddess of war, but she's like the strategic war, right? She's planning and. It's almost that's Batman's patron when you think about it, right? But she wasn't the problem. It was Ares who was this pure, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're like oppositional type.
Contrarian?
I guess, but there's two sides. Like you don't need the two sides for strategic, right? That's just figuring stuff out. But here, and he's being kept in check by warriors who are disciplined enough to know when it's necessary and when it's not.
Yeah, they've rised above the need for him. They don't need to be influenced by him to get that. We also find out that scene from the year one where she fights Ares at the end was not him. It was actually Phobos and Deimos masquerading. Because obviously, we knew at the time that he was trying to get the location of the mascara, and we just thought it was him. But now it makes even more sense because they've been trying to get there the whole time.
Right. Why would he need to? When we find he's in prison, why would he need to find to go there?
I think that was one of my points last issue. I said, man, he looks really different from when we last seen him. Yeah. And we see him in flashbacks. He did have that outfit. That was him. He did look like that. But
this was like the big supervillain version, if you will.
Yeah.
Like,
whereas now he's like a swimsuit model.
Yeah. The more we talk about this, the more it all comes into focus, and it is one of these, comics that are going to say something about the world, down the way. And I think Rucka just nails it.
Yeah.
In this one.
Hate breeds hate. Love loves what, forgive the word, trumps it.
Yeah.
So no, I think that's something to say. I think this is going to make an excellent reread. When you're reading the two, if you're reading the two deluxes, maybe they do an omnibus down the line, whatever. I feel like when you read this as one big story, from issue Rebirth. I mean, honestly, I think that's the weak point of the whole run is that Rebirth issue, because it felt kind of pointless.
And to me, I look back on it that it's just a tease. It's kind of when you look like it's a teaser trailer for it, and it sets the table, but doesn't do much other than that. And I think that's fine, considering what we get for 24 issues when it's all said and done.
No, 25 plus an annual.
25 plus so 26-ish. So I think that's good. And this one I might triple dip on. I feel the need to go get the single trades. Oh yeah. That's what I learned from good friend Mario Miranda, is when the story is so good, you get the single issues, right? And then when the trades come out, you get those, but then when the hardcovers come out, you get those as well.
Then the omnibuses, then the absolute edition.
Well, when it comes to omnibuses, they're always so big and bulky. They're kind of not fun to read, but they look great on a shelf. All right, there's stuff that's just fun to read.
Admittedly, you have to read them on a table, but they're designed to be read that way because the spine rises up, so you get a nice spread of the page.
So, and I like to do my reading wherever, not just at a table. So, it's nice just to have. So there's a couple stories, that I've triple dipped on, like Lazarus, weirdly, which is another Rucka story.
Yeah, I actually just caught up on a bunch of issues of that because Image have got a sale on Comixology and they're dirt cheap. Like, I'm serious. So some of the Volume 1 trades for Image right now on Comixology are $1. The trades are $1.
Then go do that, because they're already... Image does this really cool thing that all the first trades are $10 base. So if you can get it for $1 and you're saving that just means you can buy 10 of the amount, which you could get for one. And if you didn't like it, you lost $1. You know, like...
Yeah. It's like 65% off, I think, is the code they're handing out.
But if you did like Rucka's Wonder Woman as much as we have, I would recommend Lazarus, because there's a lot of these big ideas about the world sprinkled in there, and it's a really cool sci-fi story.
Yeah, I like Lazarus a lot. Lazarus is very good. So no, I bought Black Magic, which we are going to do a bonus on for Patreon next month. The Volume 1 of that. For, again, like $1, I think it was. So
now it's our mission to get Rucka somehow involved, just so we can tell him how much we love him. At least that's what I'll do. Because we're repping Black Magic with him and Nicola Scott, and then Wonder Woman and Lazarus. And
only beaten for you by Jeff Johns, I think, in terms of the fangirling.
Which he did kind of step away when I did meet him. So it's too intense.
This guy's crazy. He's got that look in his eye. He wants to do things. I'm going to go. I'm going in that direction.
I just wanted a hug. That's it. Just a hug.
Jeff Johns is built. Like he's a guy who works out. He's a tank.
For a man that creates for a living, because he just doesn't write anymore. He oversees and he has very broad shoulders. I was taken by surprise.
Yeah, but even he, with his physique, was like, "No, I'm scared. I'm running."
Yeah, this bear of a man wants to hug me. It might be the last thing I do.
He's probably soaked in, like, I don't know, LSD or something. I'm gonna get. He's trying to infect me.
Compared to when I met Mark Waid, another creator I really like, who simple handshake. So he knew he didn't come across the table. He got the feeling.
That's because he's older. He's more experienced. He's a bit older, a bit wiser. He can see the dangerous ones coming from a mile off.
When you open with "This is my favorite Superman story of all time" and hand him Birthright, and he kind of knows. He gets into defensive position.
Oh, right. Well, we kind of went on a tangent at the end, but Wonder Woman 23 was very good, so excellent. That'll take us on to Batgirl number 11, which is written by Hope Larson and art by Chris Wildgoose. And this is the last issue of the arc, which is Black Sun, which is Penguin's kid. That's his new name, of course, but we made fun of that last time because we thought it was goofy. He does explain why he's called Black Sun in this one, though, at the very least.
Yeah, it's kind of Babs that explains it more, which I like as our filter, because he could have expositionized, but he just assumes everybody knows, because that's, I guess, the Cobblepot way, But it's basically from when you see birds migrate together, right, and they all move as one in, in Denmark, it's called Sort Soul, which translates to Black Sun. And I was like, Hope Larson, I like the way you write.
Yeah, I like the reason for it, actually. Once they explained what it was, I'm like, oh, it's not that bad, actually, now that you've actually told me what it is. But it just sounded goofy on its own.
Of course.
So I like this issue. I've been liking the whole arc. I do think his apps are actually making people into mindless zombies that'll do whatever he wants. Maybe this is a stupid thing to say with comic books, but it feels a bit far-fetched.
I don't know. I know, again, work at a school. I see the brain-dead look in kids' faces as they're thumbing through their phones. So I kind of like that commentary.
Well, yeah, but you can't make them attack someone. It's a bit much.
No, but that's... Yeah, I guess it's just part of the... Because I had to go back and double remember if it was just the apps or if there was something more going on. Because the way that they work together here, and it's like, because he calls it, I gotta find the word, murmuration. And that's like his thing. How they all work together and move like a flock of birds. It is a little far-fetched, but I kind of like that. It's almost like hypnotic more than
I get
zombifying.
Like I say, it's really my only complaint about the issue is that it feels a bit far-fetched. I actually really like that she draws him out to, like, because basically the idea is she gets to go to somewhere where there's no Wi-Fi and he can't control everyone because his suit's like pumping out this signal that's doing it. So she's trying to lure him to this park where there's no Wi-Fi signal, which she conveniently has a flashback where she remembers someone saying, "Oh, I never get a signal out in that park."
So, is it weird that I remember reading that in a previous issue? I'm gonna have to go back and look, but
I think it was in a previous issue. Yeah.
Okay. So again, great writing there.
Even if that line wasn't, I do remember her being in a bathroom and overhearing other people talk. Even if it wasn't that line, I remember that vividly.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's again great writing there that you set that up issues ago to pay off now.
That's fair. But I like how she lures him there. She basically puts on Dick's Nightwing-looking helmet, and so he thinks it's Dick. So he gets all jealous and chases after her, thinking it's him. And obviously she gets to the park and she whips off the helmet and she's like, "Haha, you fool."
Yep.
That wasn't the exact line, but yeah, that was the gist of it. And then she wins. She beats him, and that's the issue. That's the arc even.
I also kind of like that it's not Dick Grayson when she crashes the motorcycle terribly, like without any grace, because Nightwing being an acrobat would have pulled out of that.
Honestly, I think I knew it was her from the second I seen the bike. It was just because the helmet was on, we didn't see her face. I'm like, oh, it's just her with the helmet on.
Well, of course, but I just like to look into those things, a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
And this guy, man, so she ends up being able to defeat him because he didn't count into hand-to-hand combat into a suit.
Yeah, that's right.
And she gives him a well-placed kick to the chest, and it, not hard. She wasn't trying to murder him.
No, it's like a gentle kick in the chest, and then his entire suit just shuts down because he never accounted for actually getting into fights.
And it short circuits and starts to burn him, and watching him, I kind of feel bad.
She has to put him out with her bat fire extinguisher.
Yeah. Which makes sense. I buy her having that.
Oh yeah, I think if you're someone who's running into burning buildings to save people, often you'll have, a fire extinguisher seems like a common, safety device.
Yeah.
It's like having a lockpick for this type of vigilante. They'd have a lockpick. They'd have a fire extinguisher. They'd have some sort of immediate first aid, I imagine. They'd have various things like that. It makes sense, that one. Our friend Frankie's moving back in. The whole apartment didn't work out. So that's just sort of plot for. So we get this little tease at the end, though. Actually, one of my favorite panels in this book is the two penguin henchmen in the bowler hats coming in the window. I really like that panel. It's just because they're in silhouette. It's like the night light, kind of moonlight coming in.
Well, and you instantly know because they're wearing the bowler hats who they're with.
Yeah, there's just something really cool about two villains wearing bowler hats sneaking into a room, though. I like it.
Yeah.
But basically, Penguin actually gets his now fried from head to toe son, and basically finally accepts him as his because, that was such an evil plan that he was trying to accomplish that he now respects him.
And I also took it that he's disformed, so he wasn't before.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
And now he's deformed, and he's gonna accept him into the flock.
Yeah, because he says he's got a crack team of doctors, but you're going to be scarred for life, but it'll be better than this. And then he calls him, "You beautiful boy, you belong under my wing." I like the penguin pun. I'm cool with that.
Yep.
He's got a sense of humour. Unless someone else makes a penguin joke, in which case he's not got a sense of humour, and it all goes away.
Well, because they're not allowed. That's how narcissists work. They can do whatever, but when you do it, you're probably going to be number one.
Yeah. So no, I thought it was a fun end to the arc. That one sort of far-fetched complaint aside, Batgirl's voice is on point. The art's been consistent throughout the whole arc. If you've been enjoying that, so a lot to complain about. So good, Batgirl. Mm-hmm. All right, that'll take us on to Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, issue 21. Robert Venditti writing and V. Kenneth Marion on art. I don't read this, and Connor's not here to talk to you about it. So Matt, you are on your own. You are a Guy Gardner without a ring, stranded in the cosmos.
Oh, that's fine. I still got my warrior blood, so it's fine. But yeah, so we pick up here where we left off with Hal and Rip going in a construct that's a plane, which we were talking about last week, where Simon gets the mechanical jab, but Hal, who everything's an airplane, doesn't.
Yeah.
First thing you see.
Especially since
But
it doesn't have to actually be a plate. It could just be a bubble. Like they're moving with the green energy. It could be a bubble. It could be a square. But whatever.
It could be anything, and he goes with the plane.
It could be a giant banana.
Yeah. Well, no, it's yellow, so I don't know if that would work. Maybe a green banana.
Yeah, well, bananas start off green.
Yeah. So, but basically, he's talking to Rip about the Green Lanterns and that how everyone assumes they're all the same because the ring is based off of will. But then Hal points off that just the 4 Earth Lanterns, they're also different because they express will in a different way.
Hey, no, 6 now.
Well, they're talking about the main 4 here that have been... They're involved in the fight. But it's like Guy jumps right into the line of fire without thinking. And then that's his will. Whereas Kyle just wants to do what's right. And so that's where his comes from. And then John is so meticulous and he plans everything out. And he's like, I don't understand that. He's all about restraint. That's not anything I have. And it's really cool that, to me, this shows Venditti does get all the characters, even if I don't enjoy reading his Hal as much as the pals. But... And then, of course, Rip Hunter asks Hal's just kind of begging, well, ask me how I'm different. And he's just like, I don't lose. And so they go and they're facing down Sarko, while all the other lanterns they had shut off their rings because of the prison beasts. And they start fighting them, and Kyle and Sornik end up going to the weapons armory and getting out these guns to help take out the prison beasts. And then we get to Sarko, and at the end of the last issue, we saw that Hal's gauntlet had become a full-on... Well, not Hal's. Krona's gauntlet Hal had used to become pure will has formed into like this giant mech. So him and Rip have to prevent that from happening. So that's basically how they beat Sarko is... Hal remembers where he had buried the gauntlet, and so they end up digging it up and disconnecting it so it never really becomes a thing in the future, which ends up leaving Sarko vulnerable, and he ends up taking a beam of light from when Hal destroys it and ends up dying. And so everyone's like, oh, yeah, it's great. The beasts are falling down because it flashes back and forth between the lanterns fighting the beasts and Hal and Rip doing all of this. So we also get Kyle grabbing the ring while this is all going on, the one that Rip had handed John Stewart that is from the future to prove that he's who he says he is. And he ends up looking who Sarko's parents are. Which this is probably my biggest problem is when you find out that he was related to Sinestro in all of Kyle's advances on Sornik the last couple issues, it's kind of obvious that Kyle's the dad, right? Mm. But it's supposed to be played for this big reveal at the end that because Sarko's dead, Kyle shows up at the last minute and is like, we can't leave him here. We have to take him back with us. And they're all kind of looking at him like he's weird, but they end up going back to Mogo. Rip goes back to, the time stream, and they put Krona's gauntlet back in the vault. So none of this can happen. Which, again, timey-wimey stuff. So now if none of this could happen, where does Sarko come from? Because it was the gauntlet that helped him get back, from the past, or to the past. And they give Rip the ring back, and then you see Kyle crying that Sarko was the son, and he wants to figure out what went wrong.
Who's the mother?
Sornik.
Right. Okay. Right.
Yeah. So, because in the last couple issues, he's just been coming at her like, we're gonna go on a date and let's do this, and even here, she's tending to the wounded, and he's kind of making like, hey, we make a great team, right? And it's like, hey, Kyle, there's stuff going on out there,
All right, so
again, not a big secret that's going on, but Kyle being the emotional lantern, I'm sure it'll propel stuff forward.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's kind of. Go ahead.
Kyle had an alien son. Okay, I'll just keeping track of where things have been going in this book that I'm not reading.
Although, again with the timey-wimey, does he? Because he's from a future now that doesn't really exist. So
that's fair.
It can still affect Kyle, right?
Yeah, he knows that he remembers that this would have happened. Yeah.
Right. So he can go forward, but it's just kind of the stuff that Venditti does that I kind of roll my eyes at. But there's other things that I really love, like the lanterns. You get to see Guy and Kilowog standing shoulder to shoulder with these big, sci-fi blaster guns, trying to take out these prison beasts. And
I'll tell you what, Guy is a lot more bearable when he's with Kilowog. I'll say that much.
Yeah, they're different sides of the same coin. Where I feel like Kilowog's the guy that once you get to know him, he's this big soft teddy bear. But Guy's kind of like, well, when you get to know him, you still kind of want to punch his teeth out. So, but they both put on these big, scary outer shows to keep people at arm's length. Yeah, that's Hal and Pals, as we've come to calling it.
Not we. I've not come to call it that.
Well, me and Connor.
Connor's stupid new name.
Well, also Reddit calls it that. I found because.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, we're onto something good here. Hal and Pals.
Oh right, I need a version of that name to go with Red Hood for Connor. Because he's ginger, he is red in the hood.
Red in the hood.
Okay, it's not great. It's bad, I admit, but what do you want from me?
I'm trying to come up with a name for Jason Todd, just so we don't get it confused.
Jason Todd. Sod, Lord, Cod, Mod.
It's difficult.
Let's move on. That's what. Yeah, actually, I mean, typically this is in the quick section, which is limited to a strict 5 minutes, which is the sort of the developed rule for the sort of non-main books. But when we have this few books, it doesn't. Like we can go a bit longer in this one because we only have 8 books in total, so it's fine. But no, that takes us on to Batman Beyond number 8. Dan Jurgens writing and Bernard Chang on art. And this is basically Bruce like, oh no, I basically built that batsuit to do the job for me when I was too weak to actually keep doing it. But the AI isn't stable, and as a result, this is very dangerous because Terry's going to basically be forced to kill people by this suit. So much to the point where it's got its own dialogue. Like the suit's actually got like an AI voice in this.
Yeah, it's Batiak. That's what I called it in my head.
Batiak. I was thinking more like Evil Jarvis, but yeah, that's fair.
Well, yeah, but it basically thinks that it can do Batman's job better because it's, although he kind of did just create Ultron, didn't he?
He did by accident, yes.
It's Batman's Ultron. It's Batron. It's a much better name.
I do kind of like the idea that he built it as a weird way of trying to, keep being able to be Batman, even though his body was like, no, come on now, we're falling apart.
Well, he did that. That's how Terry gets his traditional suit too. Yeah. Which I feel I like that this was the prototype for that suit because it's basically that suit without the AI.
Also, by the way, the Banes, I love it. Yeah, I love how every villain that we know from Batman ended up with that was like a gang based their name on in this future, because obviously we have the Jokers and that's been a big thing, but
well, I get it here with the Banes too. If you remember on the show, you had the Slappers that was the Venom patches that the jocks were wearing to get the thing, and it looks like these Bane guys are just covered in them, like they got them all over. So I could buy that there was a group of guys that thought it'd be a good idea to pull heists dressed as Bane. And considering that we have seen what's left of Bane on the show, how he's just kind of this withered remaining, I like that they can play with it. It's better than if it had been the Riddlers or the Two-Faces. I think Bane lends itself to the games.
The Banes, I can see it. Curari, I thought was for sure dead, but apparently there's a chance she might live. Because she gets stabbed.
Nubu.
Yeah, she gets stabbed to hell. So, but this is what kind of prompts Terry to, like, alright, I need to go find Raz. We know Raz is alive, I need to go find Raz Al Ghul. And to be fair, they swerved who this was. We were thinking it was Raz, and we thought it made sense, because Terry even says, Lazarus Pits, he's immortal, he keeps coming back.
Yeah, well, speak for yourself, it didn't swerve me. Because I brought this up last time we talked about it.
Did you? I don't remember.
Yeah. I said it's gotta be Damien. Because the way that they talked about Damien in the last one.
Do you know what it is? It's, even though they've mentioned him a couple of times, I still think it's weird to think of Damien as part of the Batman Beyond world. Yeah. Because when Batman Beyond was created, Damien wasn't a thing yet. Exist. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Alright, fair enough, Matt. I will give you the props that you so deserve. So they end this issue with...
had it been Roz, I wouldn't have been disappointed. Because I would have liked to see how they got out of that with... Again, this takes place in the show's continuity. I might be showing my fanboy edge on Batman Beyond, but we dealt with that now to the past. So I would have liked to see Jurgens, show us what had happened there. Because I think Talia had ended up being Roz. Is that his essence had transferred to her instead of Bruce. So,
was Malcolm Merlin ever Ra's al Ghul?
I believe so, but I think Drunk Connor told me that, so I can't trust him.
Oh my god. He used to be Ra's al Ghul, One of my favourite lines of that show. It really is.
Remind me to talk to you about Arrow, because someone told me what had happened in the finale.
Yeah, it's Spoiler City, so yeah, we'll do that off air afterwards.
Yeah. Remind me.
I do like, they tease it quite well, actually, because basically, because Terry's going mad with his suit and he's intending to kill him, and Raz, who turns out to be Damien, says, "Oh, you're really not, you're not Bruce. You're not that Batman. You're just a cheap knockoff." Because Damien knows quite well that Bruce would never kill someone. So they teased it nicely. I thought it was a nice cliffhanger. A lot of the issue was the flashback to how the suit came to be, but I like that. I like the idea that he went out, he beat the Banes, but the suit basically caused him so much physical damage that it actually forced him into retirement.
Yep.
Which I actually think is kind of cool. I like the idea that the thing he made to try and prolong his crime-fighting career actually killed it dead.
Ended it.
Yeah. That was kind of a nice touch. Well, I like that.
And it also shows a bit of his ego that he kept the suit there. Almost like, well, one day I'll be able to figure this out and it can be used for good.
Yeah. Which I don't know if I would quite call that ego. Because he was tinkering with it to try and make it better. So I don't necessarily think...
that's what I mean. He thinks he can fix it. And then he just never did anything. He just left it there. You know what I mean? He could have just easily destroyed it, and then it wouldn't have been anybody's problem. So, but it speaks to Bruce Wayne. He's like Tony Stark in that way. That I'm gonna fix it later.
Yeah. But to be fair, I didn't know someone was going to steal it in the middle of the night.
Of course.
So I mean, there you go. That was Batman Beyond. It was an fun issue. I think this is a very light series, but I always have fun reading it.
I love it. Yeah, it's I'm a Batman Beyond fanboy. It's my favorite version of Batman.
I've not seen the whole show. It's one thing that we'll probably do at some point. We always talk, because we do already cancel, but we're working our way through Star Trek, and we're hoping if the Patreon goal hits it, we'll do a second ongoing one. And we keep talking about how it'd be cool if we do all the animated DC series at some point, kind of work our way through them all.
Well, you can definitely sign me up for Batman Beyond, because I've seen them all multiple times, and we'll always be down to watch them again.
But so that's Batman Beyond. That'll take us on to our last book of the week. This feels so much quicker than last week. Batman The Shadow #2, Steve Orlando and Scott Snyder writing, with Riley Rossmo on art. The art is very good. My same complaint about the Batman's ears being far too small do continue, but other than that, the art is pretty damn nice throughout, so I can't complain about that. So this is basically Shadow playing with Batman's head a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, I knew who you were because I helped train you." Like, the idea, because obviously he's a master of disguise, he puts on different faces. The idea that at one point he was Ducard whilst he was training Batman, which is kind of weird, because it's like, it's not just a crossover. It's like, oh no, the Shadow was always part of Batman's world. So that's kind of fun. Yeah,
although I feel like he's clouding Bruce's mind as he's saying that. He's putting the doubt there, and so, but probably my favorite moment of this issue is where Batman has this fight with him, and they sword fight in the Alps, and then he ends up back in Gotham, and Alfred calls him Master Bruce, And he's like, "Don't call me master." That's what the Shadows people call him, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I dig that. Yeah, I had more fun with this one. I like the last issue a lot. I like this one quite a bit. I like basically they figure out that the so it's was it the Stag who's the arch nemesis.
The Stag, yeah,
of the Shadow, who the Shadow kills like the worst people of society. Like that's his mission, his goal ever since he like get taken over by this. And the Stag does the opposite. The Stag is this evil presence who goes after the best of people, and that kind of ties in with that first issue because we see this guy who works at Arkham. He's nice to everyone. He is like the perfect person, and he gets killed.
And we had found out that it wasn't the Shadow. The Shadow was there at the wrong time, and so Bruce thinks that he killed him because he's the detective, and he's like, your eyes are lying to you. There's bigger things going on than what you know.
Well, because I think clearly the Stag also has similar like abilities to the Shadow. Yeah. It seems. I'm not super familiar. I don't think because I've seen the movie. I don't think he was the villain in the movie. I think it was.
No, Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn.
Genghis Khan.
No, Shao Kahn's.
That's Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. That's Mortal Kombat. It's a Khan villain.
Khan! It's funny, actually, I mentioned we're doing Already Cancelled, but we're working our way through Star Trek. I just watched Space Seed. I just watched Space Seed today. That's the next one we're talking about. We're doing that later on.
Hint.
So, it's just funny, we're talking about Khan, and I just got to that episode. But no, so basically they find out there's like 3 people who won this Gotham City prize for excellence and being like a stand-up citizen. There's one left alive, and it turns out to be Leslie Tompkins, who of course not only would Batman save anyone, but it's Leslie. It's someone who's got a personal connection with him. So he goes to save her, and the Stag shows up. They have a bit of fight. Leslie gets shot, but it's not really Leslie. Leslie's actually somewhere safe. This is the Shadow who's taken over to make sure. I really like this fight as well. Like I said, the art's really good. There's a lot of good sense of motion in the fights.
Yeah.
Especially when the actual Shadow kind of black clouds start to come into things. I think that's really fun. But the
Shiwan Khan. That's who we're thinking of.
There we go.
Yeah, I know. It's
not Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn.
Not Shao Kahn. Shiwan Khan.
I got really excited at the end of this issue because basically the Shadow. But which, by the way, I love that the Shadow's speech bubbles are square. It just it gives you this sense that he has a really different a presence. Like he has a different kind of voice that doesn't feel normal.
Well, and they said that when the Shadow talks to you, you can hear the laughing in your head, and it gives it when it pairs with the laughing and the square, it really stands out.
Which is really funny because earlier on, back when they're in the Alps and the Shadow disappears and you see all the laughter, all the ha-ha-has around the page, I thought, that's funny, that reminds me of the Joker.
Yeah, right?
And, sure enough, at the end of the issue, we actually tie that back in. And I really like this. I like this tease where this is going because basically the Stag, uses evil to do what it wants because it wants to, achieve its goal. And Batman's like, well, if it wants to find evil in Gotham, there's one place it's going to go. And I'm like, I know what the next page is going to be. And sure enough, it's the Crown Prince of Crime. The Clown Prince of Crime.
Prince of Crime.
Yeah, Crown. I can't speak today.
So here's the thing, is...
Although,
Stag...
admittedly, I do think the Joker's face looks a bit weird. So
yeah,
I'll criticise that. But otherwise, I did like the art.
So here's my big thing there is... So the Stag wants to kill... It needs one more, the Shadow said, to enter... Was it Shambhala?
Shambhala, yeah, that's where the power comes from, yeah.
Yeah. So, is he going to have the Joker kill someone else? Or is he going to have Joker lead him there? I'm confused as to how he's using Joker.
I don't know the answer to that, but I don't think it's a big deal. I think we'll find out next issue.
Okay.
I don't think something to concerned about yet.
Because if he's there to kill the Joker, he's not doing it right. That's
I think he's going to use the Joker either to kill someone, like you say, or taking the Joker to wherever will help give the entrance, kind of thing.
Oh man!
Oh, your mic's gone, Matt. Mike, it's that time. That time of the podcast. So no, but no, I was really pumped up at the end of this issue. I thought that was a really nice tease. And it's really nice that the first issue was all about establishing who the Shadow was. Batman was hunting him, and then the second issue it establishes who the big bad is, and then also that the big bad from Batman's going to come into play as well as So it's like it's that kind of thing when you do a crossover. You don't just cross over the heroes, you cross over the villains.
Well, yeah, and it has that dichotomy here too, is we get the Shadows villain, like you said, and Batman's villain, and that's what it's all about. It's how they work and whatever else that we saw. Because we also saw them go back to the Shadows people, and then we kind of get Bruce's people. So I'm sure they'll cross over too at one point. Like we'll get Alfred.
Alfred might meet them. Yeah, I could see.
Yeah,
that.
it's, so everything's hinted. But yeah, it's real enjoyable. I put this off to read to last just because I wasn't sure if we were covering it again. But I'm glad that I read it because now I'm fully invested in the story.
Well, like I said last issue, I was really I went into the first issue last month feeling like I don't know if I'm gonna like this, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I came out being like, oh, it was actually pretty fun. Again, Batman's cool, not feeling. The Joker's face, not really feeling. But otherwise, I think the art's very good. Obviously, those are just stylistic decisions that were made for some reason that I'm not agreeing with. But otherwise, the art's pretty damn solid.
Yeah, I will agree there.
So, no. There you go, that's Batman the Shadow, and I guess that takes us on to the best books of the week. Although, before we actually do that, before we get to the best books, we started last week, we had this new thing where on Patreon, now most of our comics bonus stuff, which, we had our Power Rangers Pink review, me and Connor did that this week, me and Matt are going to do the Archie issue 20 review, and that's going to be up this weekend. We're recording that actually straight after we do this, so you can expect that soon. And there's other stuff in the works, as we've said. But one of the new things for the $1 tier on Patreon, so that if people just want to give $1 and they want to feel they get something in return if they're a comics podcast fan, if this is why they like us and that's why they want to support us, they get to vote on a weekly poll where they get to pick their best book of the week and their best art of the week and their best cover of the week. So I forgot to get the page up, so I'm going to stall for just a second as I click around. So this is going to be a new thing every week where before we get to ours for this week, I'm going to tell you the patrons voted pick for last week. So that's a nice thing. So last week's best book of the week, as voted for by our patrons, and again, it's really easy to find this if you go to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. If you click on the comics bonus content on the left hand side, it'll just give you the comics content in the middle, and you can find the newest poll near the top. It'll always be near the top when you do that. So So the winner of the polls last week then, the best book was unanimously The Flash number 22, which I guess surprises no one. That's someone agreeing with us, which is great. Best art from last week, the winner of that was Green Arrow, which I think is what you picked last week.
I think,
So someone picked it. I know it wasn't me.
I think I did because of Freya.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And the best cover, as picked by the patrons, for episode 52, or week 52, I should say, maybe more accurately, was what colour is it? Oh, Flash number 22. Again, obvious pick. I think this was a really easy week to start them off on for the voting because it was like, best issue and cover are probably a lock. I can't imagine, anything else winning those. That's it. We did get one comment as well from one of the voters. Let me just scroll up for the name. David Short commented, mentioning that on the cover for the Flash 22, that the Tim Drake tease on the cover was a bit of a bait and switch. He was hoping for some Tim Drake. But yeah, I'll give him a particular shout out though, because he is the person who is making Connor read Red Hood come next month. So props to you. Props to you, David. It is appreciated. So, of course, head over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV if you want to see some of the other bonuses that are on offer, some of the extra reviews. Like I said, I actually just bought a bunch of image stuff on Comixology, so I might do some solo image thoughts over the next little while if I get to reading them.
Again, if it's stuff that we cross over with, let me know and I can hop on.
Yeah. Well, we're doing Black Magic next month. But maybe we can see what else we're reading and do something. So that's cool. So. Yes, our picks then. Our picks for week 53 from this week. What are we picking then? So we're starting off, as we always do, with panel of the week. Now, obviously, panel's not in the polls for the patrons because I can't list every panel. Because, it's multiple choice. I can't list every panel in every book. It's just not possible.
And it's very subjective, more so than looking at, well, this had great art versus this, so...
Yeah, exactly. So... panel of the week, Matt. You got one ready, or are you...
I do, and this one was hard this week because everything was kind of... it's tip of my hand for when it comes to counting them down. Everything was kind of at the level this week. There's nothing really stood out. Nothing was really that bad.
But yeah, but nothing was amazing. Well, I think there was a couple that maybe rose above a little bit, but I kind of agree. It was kind of just a decent week, but not a good week.
Yeah.
There wasn't. Typically, there'll be like 2 or 3 that are really fighting for the top spot, whereas this week I didn't really feel that, which is a shame. But you have weeks like this. They can't all be knockouts every week. So what's your panel?
Mine, I wanted to pull something from Action Comics, but nothing really stuck out to me. So I'm gonna have to become a self-parody a little bit here and go with the panel of Guy Gardner explaining why he is a Green Lantern versus the other guys. And there's a caption here that says, "The beating he takes will bruise your eyes for watching." And again, that's why I ended up reading Hal and Pals, thanks to Connor, was an issue that was Guy taking a beating. And he has a smile on his face as he's punching this octopus-headed alien that is Guy Gardner to a T. So there's my panel of the week.
I'm going to have to go with Wonder Woman, and I'm going to go with basically the final panels of both Diana and Hippolyta touching the tree on either side, and
that's a good one too.
It's a good emotional climax. I could have almost went with the moment where Diana realizes that Izzy's going to go to Themyscira, because that's also a great panel. Again, very expressive with the face, just in terms of the art, but again, emotional because of everything that's built up to this. But that was kind of... There wasn't really much option for me this week. It was basically going to be something from one of those moments.
Yeah, that was pretty good too.
Best cover of the week.
Oof, this one's rough too.
That's tough. Yeah.
I have 2 to go off of that I can't pick between. So I'll have you go first, and if one of yours is my other one, I'll pick the opposite.
Yeah, I think I've got 3 that it could be, right? I do really like the detective one, mainly for the spoiler on the bat signal is pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's a pretty cool image. I think Batgirls is again solid but not amazing. I actually think I want to go with action. I think the lineup of all the villains with Zod back to the camera, as it were. I don't think any of them stand out as being like amazing. It's not like last week where it was like no, Flash or Batwoman has to win. Like those are exceptional. Yeah. But that's where I stand. What you got?
So you threw me a curveball because I figured you'd pick none of those were mine. I had to narrow down to Wonder Woman and Batman versus Batman Shadow.
Batman Shadow's not bad, admittedly. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go Batman and Shadow because it's got the Bat logo in purple and then the stag and the shadow locked in a battle.
Yeah.
And it's kind of at a Dutch angle. It's kind of tilted, and it just drew my eye to it. But then Wonder Woman looks cool too because it's got the tree with Ares horns in his helmet. And it looks sinister.
I think the reason why Wonder Woman didn't even occur to me to pick it is because as much as I like the image, it doesn't feel like a cover. Does that make sense?
No, it feels like a print.
Yeah.
If I ever go to a con where Liam Sharp's at, I kind of want this as a print to hang up. But it's also, if you think about the issue, it kind of gives it away because it's got Diana and her mom on opposite sides.
Yeah, it does.
Reaching towards each other. So, but yeah, those were what I got to. So ultimately, Batman Shadow.
All right, best art then for the week. Actually, hold on, what's that voice? I hear something from the Speed Force. Is that Connor? Is Connor saying something? No, Connor. There was no Red Hood this week. You can't pick that. All right, yeah, go back to the Speed Force. Go back to what we were doing.
He's definitely the Negative Flash.
Negative Flash. He's Toilet Break Flash.
Toilet Break Flash.
All right, best art of the week then, Matt. You got a best art pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Wonder Woman with Sharp. For what you mentioned earlier with the panels, just all of those work together so well.
Yeah, the emotion was there. I'm going to jump in and just say that mine's also Wonder Woman. And I think Batman Shadow, if it wasn't for the Batman cowl and the weird choice with the Joker's face, I might have picked that. But I think Wonder Woman Sharp's been great through the whole run.
Well, and just even I mean, there's a little bit of stuff off here and there, like with the faces of Phobos and Deimos, but they've just transformed. so it makes them look off. And I think that's the point. Is you're thinking of them as the other at this point now, and the really terrible stuff they've done up to that point. It really helps drive that home. But yeah, it's like you said, just the last page itself, I think, earns it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that takes us on to the top 5 books of the week. Maybe an interesting list here. What you got? You got one ready, Matt?
Yeah, I'm gonna wing it here.
All right.
And number 1 is Wonder Woman. Should probably go without saying. And then 2 is Batgirl. 3 is Detective. 4 is Batman Beyond, and 5 is Action.
Interesting. Okay. My number 1's also going to be Wonder Woman. My number 2 is going to be Detective. My number 3 is going to be Batgirl.
Mm-hmm.
Then my number 4 is going to be Batman Shadow, number 4.
Okay.
And then 5 will be Action.
Yeah.
There you go. That's my top 5. Unfortunately, Deathstroke just had enough problems that it just wasn't really in contention for that top 5.
I neither.
But there you go. That's this week's books. And obviously, we both picked Wonder Woman, so we'll have to double check with Connor off air once he's read everything. If he also picks Wonder Woman, and see if it goes into the annals, the hall of unanimous picks, that fame, that prestigious title that only a handful of books have.
Yeah. Well, and since it's a week that there's no Red Hood, it's a shoe-in. It should be.
Yeah, no Red Hood this week. So I guess that leaves me to tell you what's coming next week. Alright, so coming next week is a week 5, but we actually have a few things because we have 3 annuals, which is a normal amount. Now, obviously, when it comes to August, we'll have 3 annuals, but we'll only have 2 that we'll do. Well, except maybe Connor. But this also has another regular issue because the Flash 23, because the last one got pushed, the Flash 23 got pushed to this coming week. So we get Flash 23 as a regular issue, which is cool, and Hal Jordan's in it, so that should be fun. But we've also got Teen Titans Annual, The Lazarus Contract issue 1, which of course is the finale of this crossover. We have Trinity Annual issue 1, which could be interesting. I don't think it's Manipul though, so maybe lower your expectations on the art a little bit. And then we have Wonder Woman Annual, which we spoke about a little bit earlier, with the mirroring stories from the past, where she first meets Batman and Superman, and then she's meeting them again in present day, even though she sees them all the time. But I'm sure there'll be like a symmetry going on to make them feel like they're related and connected. So that's what's coming next week. But of course, also the patrons vote in the $5 tier as to what trade paperback or whatever, an arc basically, that we'll cover on 5th weeks as well. So there's a bonus since we'll get more time that week because there's less books. And they of course picked Teen Titans, the Judas Contract, so we're going to have that read for next week, and we're going to talk about that after the week's books. So if you want to read that as well, so you can be in the conversation and know exactly what we're talking about, if you've not read it before, then do so. So that's coming next week. So that's us. We finished a regular length issue episode, Matt.
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, there we go.
Good, yay.
All right, well, I imagine the Ginger Menace will be back next week.
Mm-hmm.
Be back next week, and he's have stories of his Red Hood antics ready to go. But that wraps up episode 53. So let us know what you thought of the books this week in the comments and stuff. If you're on Patreon or you're tempted to join Patreon for $1, make sure you vote in the poll. Basically you can keep voting, and I will just take the results right before the show starts. We start recording on the Saturday, so you've got a week. The new poll for the new form of the polls for episode 53 are already up. But let us know in there. Comment in the YouTube comments. Comment on the on Twitter even if you want to let us know. But let us know what you thought of the books. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. 5-star rating on iTunes, all that kind of thing. Whenever it is you experience the podcast. But that's us. So thank you very much for watching and or listening. It is always an absolute pleasure, especially when Connor's not here. And we'll see you next time. And always remember, never get lost in the Speed Force.
Long live the Legion.